Manchester United have entered the 2025 summer transfer window like a man gasping for air, desperate, panicked, and flailing. Despite handing Ruben Amorim full control to implement his football philosophy, and despite financial backing from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS, the results so far have been underwhelming, to say the least. 3 signings have been completed, but if you look closely, only one brings real hope. Matheus Cunha. United splashed £62.5 million to bring the Brazilian striker from Wolves, and with good reason. He scored 15 goals and provided 3 assists in just 33 Premier League games last season, while playing for a mid-table team. That kind of output in that kind of setup is no small feat. Cunha feels like a player who can deliver now, not just someday. The other 2 arrivals, not so much. Enzo Cannabig came on a free transfer, only to be immediately loaned out to Lausanne Sport. A puzzling move, especially when United desperately need reinforcements. Then there's Diogo Leon, a clear long-term investment. Maybe he turns into something in a few years, but United don't have a few years. They need help today. Things get even messier on the outgoing side. The club had hoped to offload 6 or 7 players this summer. Names like Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho, Antony, and Malaysia were all reportedly on the chopping block. But so far, only one deal is nearing completion. Rasmus Højlund's move to Inter Milan for £38 million. That's a massive loss compared to the £72 million United paid Atalanta just 2 summers ago. Selling players has never been easy for United, mostly due to their inflated wage structure. According to The Telegraph, the club is even considering paying to get rid of certain players. Sancho is in talks with Juventus, but wages remain a huge obstacle. Rashford won't leave unless he agrees to a pay cut. Antony? No club wants to take a chance on him, not with his poor form and hefty salary. As for incoming targets, the list is long, but nothing's moving. Bryan Mbeumo is a case in point. United have already submitted 2 bids, the latest worth £62.5 million with add-ons. The Cameroonian winger reportedly wants the move, but Brentford are standing firm, demanding at least £65 million with most of it up front. Then there's Victor Osimhen. United offered €75 million, but the striker, now at Galatasaray, rejected the move outright. He's not willing to lower his £250,000 a week wages. A similar story surrounds Hugo Ekitike. The selling club wants €100 million and isn't interested in any kind of player plus cash deal. The core issue lies deep within United's financial structure. With a wage bill of £250 million per year, the second highest in the Premier League, the club must sell before it can buy. But their current roster is full of high-wage, low-performance, low-demand players. Nobody wants them, and if they can't sell, they can't buy. It's a vicious cycle that's turned this transfer window into a long, frustrating stalemate. Both Manchester United and Tottenham entered the summer of 2025 with the bitter aftertaste of underachievement. United had just finished a disastrous season, 15th in the Premier League, trophyless, directionless, and drowning in doubt. Spurs, despite lifting the Europa League, fell short in domestic competition and had to part ways with their manager. But that's where their stories began to diverge. Tottenham saw a crossroads and sprinted forward. Manchester United, stuck in the mud of internal chaos, stumbled. Under new boss Thomas Frank, Spurs wasted no time. Within just 24 hours, they dropped £115 million on 2 statement signings. £55 million for Mohamed Kudus from West Ham and £60 million to trigger Morgan Gibbs-White's release clause. Fast, clean, clinical. The Gibbs-White deal stood out, despite some minor haggling with Nottingham Forest, and with Manchester City lurking in the background, Tottenham got it done. At 25, Gibbs-White fits the profile of a modern attacking midfielder. Creative, press-resistant, and tactically versatile. More importantly, these signings reflect something bigger, a clear plan, a coherent recruitment strategy, and a project players believe in. Meanwhile, in Manchester, it's a different picture. A slow, frustrating grind of negotiations. New CEO Omar Barada is trying to instill financial discipline after years of reckless spending. But with bloated wages, long-term contracts, and hesitation to commit upfront payments, United are failing to close deals. Even Kudus, who had early talks with United, ended up at Spurs before the Red Devils even got serious. The difference? Trust. Tottenham are selling a vision. Manchester United are still trying to remember who they are. Once a dream destination, United now find themselves rejected again and again. Top strikers like Victor Gyökeres and Victor Osimhen both said no thanks to the club once known for its global pull. Gyökeres turned down a reunion with former coach Ruben Amorim, reportedly uninterested in joining a club mired in chaos after their worst season in history. Osimhen's rejection was even more direct. Despite his desire to play in the Premier League, he refused to join United when the board pushed for a wage cut from his £365,000 per week salary, an amount Galatasaray and Al Hilal were happy to match. In Osimhen's eyes, United's badge no longer shines bright enough to warrant a pay cut. This isn't just about money, it's about reputation. Manchester United's brand has faded. The club is still living in the shadow of its glorious past, but glory doesn't sign players anymore. Poor results, no Champions League football, and a lack of clear direction have made Old Trafford less appealing. Young stars today are choosing projects that feel real. Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, even Newcastle. Now, reality is forcing United to adjust. The original plan? A mass clear-out, sell off high-wage underperformers, bring in new blood. But the market isn't buying, so instead United are quietly walking that plan back. Players once considered on the chopping block may now be asked to stay. Antony, for example, is reportedly being reconsidered. Casemiro, who many expected to leave, now looks set to remain. Not because he's untouchable, but because no one can afford him, and United still lack midfield experience. Behind the scenes at Manchester United, the INEOS team is quietly rebuilding something that doesn't show up in transfer headlines: the club's entire internal player valuation system. No longer just based on market price, they're now rethinking value through a more practical lens: contribution, development, and long-term potential during this turbulent transition period. As a result, the recruitment strategy is shifting. United are no longer chasing proven stars. They're targeting players who might grow into stars in 2 to 3 years. That means accepting risk. That means living with uncertainty. And that means the current squad, as flawed as it is, might not be strong enough to truly compete this season. This summer, then, is not just about rebuilding a team. It's a test of endurance, a forced recalibration of expectations. The club must hold on to players they once intended to move on and build something slowly, in stages, one layer at a time. The fans want a revolution. What they're getting is a grind. And hanging over all of this is one more shadow: Ruben Amorim. The Portuguese coach arrived with promise, a rising talent from Europe's next generation of managers. But here's the problem: he doesn't inspire yet. Amorim hasn't shown the fire of Simeone, the tactical genius of Guardiola, or the charisma of Klopp and Mourinho. He's modern, methodical, and intelligent, but still a mystery. And that's not what Manchester United need right now. Players are deeply sensitive to their working environment, especially when it comes to their manager. They'll take pay cuts, pressure, and personal sacrifice if they believe in the person leading them. Someone who can elevate their game, reignite their careers, or at the very least, give them a shot at winning. Amorim hasn't built that belief, not yet. He's never worked in the ruthless environment of the Premier League. He hasn't handled big egos. And while his philosophy is fresh and promising, it remains untested at the very top. Even players like Victor Gyökeres, who thrived under Amorim at Sporting, have chosen to walk a different path rather than reunite. It's not that Amorim is a bad choice. He's just quiet. And quiet doesn't work when your club is screaming for identity. Manchester United were once the most attractive football brand in the world. Now, they can't even sell the man at the helm. For a fan base desperate for hope and clarity, the silence is deafening. So here we are. The summer of 2025 was never going to be a fairy tale. It's shaping up to be something far more difficult. A painful, patience-testing transition. The kind of summer that reveals not just a club's flaws, but its character. The question is no longer, who will they sign, or can they bounce back? It's this: Can Manchester United learn from their past, survive the present, and slowly rebuild a future worth believing in? Or are they destined to stay trapped in a loop of fading glory and broken promises?